Well, we're coming to the close of the year, but things do not seem to be slowing down just quite yet. Today, I'm taking a look at Luma Labs' new Modify feature, which allows you to, well, as the name implies, modify existing video. Some good stuff here. Plus, are we getting our first look at Veo 4? Well, maybe it's more like Veo 3.5, but there's a new mystery model floating around that just might be a Google surprise drop. We'll check into that today. And Topaz has updated Astra, their video upscaler. I just happen to have early access, so we'll take a look at a bit of a preview today. Kicking off, Luma Labs have updated Ray 3 with a Modify feature. This is obviously a video-to-video function that allows you to add, remove, and restylize your input video, be it AI generated or not. Now, while we have seen this feature on a few other platforms, notably I think just a video or two ago on Kling, and listen, all of these can be a bit hit or miss. I will say that Luma has brought in their own, flavor to this this particular feature, such as the ability to modify with keyframes. That is something that we haven't seen in the other versions of this. Kicking off with the briefest of overviews of how this works, simply hit the Modify tab over here. That will open up the option for an image or a video. Drop your video in, and then that will populate off the rest of your option tabs, essentially. You can, of course, just simply text prompt to, modify your video. We also have start frames, a +5 second frame, which kind of acts as middle frame. We're going to dig into that in a little bit, and obviously character referencing. Below that, we have the strength slider, which allows you to control the amount of influence that the model is going to take over your input video. So, the lower it is, the more doggedly it's going to try to adhere to the, whatever's happening in your input video. The higher you go, the more allowance you're giving it to be creative. So you might not get the exact same motions, but your fidelity might improve. And then finally, in terms of your start frame and modify frames, if you have an image that you have, like, say, nano bananaed, you would use start frame and then upload it. If you do not have it, you can use modify frame. That will open up Luma's Modify Image feature, which, essentially it's Nano Banana as well. They all kind of do the same thing. So because there's, so much that you can do with a feature like this, we're going to start off on easy mode and then gradually work our way up to narrative. So kicking off with some stock drone footage of Dodger Stadium. This is the actual Dodger Stadium. This is not AI generated. And then running this through with a Modify, we can get a postcard perfect sunset out of it without having to wait for the perfect sunset. And obviously, the plus side here is that is still Dodger Stadium, and downtown LA is still structurally the same. Staying on easy mode with a bit of a flashback example here. This is, of course, the wedding of the woman in the red dress to the man in the green tuxedo, where, she ends up running away. Now, one thing that always kind of bothered me about this output is the fact that our man in the green tuxedo, it's not really all that green. And with a pretty simple text prompt, we now have our man in the green tuxedo. Granted, it does look like it's maybe like a velour tuxedo, which is maybe why she's running away from him. But regardless, we finally have our man in the green tuxedo. Another easy mode example here that is not quite perfect. I do like to always highlight that. Here we have, again, stock footage of some film students to whom Pulp Fiction is clearly the greatest movie ever made. We do have some, I guess, issues here. We have a boom mic, obviously, in the frame, and it looks like a high 8 camcorder that this guy is holding. So trying to just remove those sections. And while it does complete the assignment, it also just kind of goes a bit ham with the glow of the MacGuffin inside Marcellus Wallace's briefcase. But also, they're student filmmakers. Maybe they're just not good with lighting yet. Rounding out our easy test with a removal. Here we have a young lady who is apparently waiting to find out who her arranged marriage is to, only to find out that it's Nico from Corridor Crew returning from his audition for My Chemical Romance. Yeah, that is a joke with a lot of layers, but if it landed for you, it landed for you. So a little trick that I wanted to pass on, if we want to remove not Nico from this video, the problem that we would run into is that he does not appear in the opening frame. So the trick here is simply reverse the footage and then bring this into Modify. It is a very simple and stupid trick, but you'd be surprised at how often it saves your bacon. After you're done, you of course bring it back in and re-reverse it. Now our young lady will forever wonder how opacity layers work in After Effects. So moving up the ladder to some bigger restylizations. This is where we start to run into some issues, but also where we see some pretty cool results. Kicking off with this stock video I found of a dark angel getting her steps in for the day. You'd think that you'd avoid death by not taking the elevator, but well, there she is. So taking the first frame of that video and giving it a nano banana restylization to kind of more of an appropriate location. Admittedly, I could have done more on the stairs there. They do look a bit out of place in the castle, but you know, it'll work for an example. And besides, with those railings, it's OSHA compliant. We end up with this as a result, which, you know, look, it might not be the most inspiring output you'll see today. That probably has more to do with my nano banana background than anything. But the thing that I want to point out, previously, rotoscoping a shot like this would have been an absolute nightmare, especially with those feathery wings. So yeah, for that alone, Modify is awesome. Moving things up a considerable notch. I ended up giving it this fight scene rehearsal footage. There are so many reasons that this should not work. Not only do you have the fast motion, the handheld camera, but I mean, characters moving off and then back on screen. I mean, this is a pretty intense test. So I figured in the interest of fairness, I'd give it kind of a stylized comic book animated look to kick off with, you know, just give it at least a fighting chance. So I was downright shocked when we ended up getting this back, which, look, is it perfect? It's not, but I mean, it's also kind of gobsmacking when you think about what it's getting right. I mean, there's so many opportunities for this to go completely off the rails, and it's kind of holding it together. So encouraged by that output, I decided to push it a little bit further with a photorealistic output, kind of obviously Mortal Kombat inspired. You know, we have our Sonya Blade character, not Liu Kang and not Johnny Cage here. So taking this out for a spin. So again, while I'll say this is not perfect, especially like right there, we get a moment of occlusion where the model gets confused and now believes that Liu Kang is our main character. And then from there, I think Sonya Blade ends up turning into Johnny Cage. And additionally, like another Johnny Cage shows up. That said, I mean, there's a lot going on in here. And I mean, this is pretty close. So given how promising that was, I decided to slow things down. I mean, kind of slow things down with, once again, some stock footage of these two bros doing the most complicated handshake known to man. And the results came out, I mean, kind of on point in terms of motion. Luma was even nice enough to throw in some Shaolin monks in the background there. I think a couple of them are practicing Drunken Monkey. Briefly, before moving over to kind of one of the pitfalls of the model, I did want to go over the middle frame function for the most part. So just to showcase how it works, I'm going to steal a bit from Work Heath's example. It's fine. He's a friend, and well, this is just payback for a thing that he nicked from me a while back. Love you, buddy. But as we can see here, you know, our start frame is Work, and then at 5 seconds, our next frame is essentially, you know, him turning to ash or him turning to water. Now, what's interesting about this is that I think it gives us a bit of a clue in how the model works, and that I think it kind of generates in 5-second batches. So taking this piece of stock video and then giving it a start frame essentially of kind of like this apocalyptic scene, and then moving into the 5-second mark, and then giving it something like this, kind of in a totally different style, what we end up with is something that's actually kind of interesting and cool here. And you'll note at the 5-second mark, we do transition over into that animated look, and then we kind of slowly come out of it. But what I'm really fascinated by is in the opening frame there, where we're getting that cartoony smoke in the beginning. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I think that this is something that if you're looking for experimental effects, I think that this is an interesting playground for you. Briefly moving through with character referencing, I did end up running the test that we did a few videos back, utilizing Ripley, the original flamethrower girl, with our flamethrower girl, and ended up with this as a result, which personally I do think, you know, is just kind of a bit of a step above what we saw with Kling earlier. The Kling output tended to kind of move into like this CG area. This one I think retains flamethrower girl a little bit better. Now, I will say, one thing that Luma does have is that strength slider. So if we move it down, you know, obviously we retain more of the original Ripley-ness. And then if we move it up, we get a little more, you know, imagination out of the model. And actually, I do think that this is a spot where the model does well if you turn it up. Because when we do turn the slider up and combine it with character referencing, although we don't match, you know, Ripley's original movement here, we get more or less like the same vibe with better character consistency. Now, all that said, one issue that I do think needs to be addressed is lip sync, in that it can be pretty unpredictable. For example, taking this Veo 3.1 output.
I appreciate that about you, James. Very professional. But remember, in the business of death, you have to take time to live a little.
And then using modify to change that guy to this guy. When we run this,
I appreciate that about you, James. Very professional. But remember, in the business of death, you have to take time to live a little.
you can still manage to pull off some narrative stuff, although again, admittedly, you have to go into it knowing you might have some lip sync issues. Let's take a quick look at a narrative piece I put together, kind of a cover version of an old Kids in the Hall skit.
I hear you're on job for it.
I do, but it's delicate. The guy's a pro.
I can handle it. Who's the target?
Here, they're ready to picture after you see it.
This is a picture of me.
You're saying you can handle it. You taking that back now?
I'm probably gonna need the cash up front.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll tell you what, see Joey on your way out with the bitch all squared away. Oh, and one more thing. You gotta make it look like an accident.
Trust me, that won't be a problem.
That man is committed to his craft. So yeah, I mean, off the top, obviously there are some issues with the lip sync, and to be fair, some slurring in the words, but that was actually my fault since I didn't mic anything for the original audio, so 11 Labs kind of struggled with the voice swap. So overall, I'd say Ray 3's Modify is very useful. Some issues, obviously, but I mean, that's AI in a nutshell. I'm pretty sure they're gonna patch out or figure out the lip sync issue. And in the meantime, I mean, I'm just really looking forward to seeing what Luma has in store for 2026. Ray 4, perhaps? Speaking of the number 4, it looks like we might have what could possibly be a look at Veo 4, although I tend to think it's probably more like Veo 3.5. Making the rounds in the artificial analysis arena, a new video model codenamed Sicily popped up. To note, there is no sound in the arena, but I mean, this does look very VO-y, doesn't it? Brent Lynch captured a number of outputs coming off of the arena, and I mean, I gotta say, if it's not VO, it's definitely a very interesting video model. But probably the most compelling argument for it being in the Veo family is a test that Brent ran utilizing one of the arena prompts, which was slowly dolly back as the man looks up lovingly at the fish. I mean, it goes on. It's a weird prompt, I'll give you that. So the Sicily output gives us this, which does live up to absurd surrealism. Yeah, I mean, overall, kudos for following the prompt. And Veo 3.1, utilizing the same prompt, ends up giving us this, which is remarkably close, obviously. So overall, if indeed Sicily is Veo 3.5, I think what we're looking at in terms of an update here is probably something along the lines of like better prompt coherence, improved physics, and overall, texture and fidelity improvements. And while there were some Veo 4 rumors swirling around last month, at this point, I tend to think that what we'll be looking at is a 0.5 update sometime early next year, with Veo 4 being released at Google I/O in 2026. That is pure speculation. I have no inside information on that. But it does make sense if you've got the massive stage show that, well, that's where you're gonna unleash the Kraken. Let's just hope they bring Loop Daddy back for 2026. Breaking just as I'm recording this, it looks like ByteDance have released SeaDance 1.5 Pro, pretty much everywhere. We took a look at this in the last video, although at the time it was limited, like the only place that you'd use it, at least in the West, was via CapCut. But yeah, now it is out and available everywhere. This one does, of course, do text to video and image to video and supports native audio. Fall actually put up some examples of the audio. Let's take a quick look and listen.
Well, this might not be the cheapest house around here, but you can make sure it is the best house. Guys, I finally did it. I solved it, and it is crystal clear. You know what? I will stay here for next 3 hours, and you need to wait with me.
Do you know where this elevator is going? I hope it is not the place that I think.
I don't know, but we need to get out of here. Do you know what is most important in life? It is family. Always care for your family.
While Fish and Dad might be giving some good advice, I mean, I think we all know the real meaning of life, which is what Conan taught us, to crush our enemies and see them driven before us. Overall, I do think that the video outputs on Dream 1.5 are pretty good. The dialogue does sound a little cammed and hammy. It does seem to have a problem with contractions, doesn't it? But look, it's out and available now, so feel free to give it a shot. Try it out over on Fall, link down below. Rounding out, Topaz Labs has updated both their image upscaler and their video upscaler, so Bloom and Astra. This is the realism update. This is obviously over on the Bloom side, which I think tends to be a little more on the like realistic and heavy-handed side. On the video side, which is what we're going to be looking at, the results are definitely a lot more subtle. So obviously the before on the left and the after on the right. So taking a look at some examples, taking a look at our Ode to Fallout. This is the original video and then running Starlight Precise on it. Yeah, again, it's pretty subtle. Now, you definitely do see some differences when you really punch in. So this is punching in at 400%. Yeah, I mean, like, again, it is pretty subtle. In terms of overall improvement, yeah, I mean, I think it does kind of clean up the skin textures a pretty good amount, but I am actually really impressed with stuff like the suit jacket there as well. So yeah, I mean, again, is this like world changing? Not necessarily, because this definitely follows the rule of garbage in, garbage out. So if we take our like Mortal Kombat output and we run it through, I mean, we're not getting any kind of improvement in terms of our source video here. But at the same time, I mean, I think that Topaz is, you know, pretty much considered industry standard at this point to run through any AI video generation just to kind of, you know, clean everything up. So, you know, Precise 2 looks, you know, pretty good here. Definitely see it in the back of the throne there. Really picks up there. And yeah, again, it does clean up the skin tones a bit. So again, currently this is just Starlight Precise. This is not in the creative modes yet. That is something that I'm actually really looking forward to seeing. Hopefully that will be introduced, you know, 2026. So I guess that wraps up, I mean, I think this year, barring anything major happening, my plan is really to touch grass and enjoy the holiday season. Maybe a short or two if I get fidgety, but probably nothing long form. Probably. So if this does happen to be the last time we see each other this year, I do want to take a moment to wish all of you a happy holiday season and a happy new year. I mean, it has been a crazy 2025 and I'm really happy to have been able to share it with all of you. And hey, onward to 2026. I mean, it's only going to get wilder from here. As always, I thank you for watching. My name is Tim.